Okay, so 3D character animation is often pictured as something really complicated, while it's actually simpler than you think. You just need to know a few basic tools to get started, and the majority of you are eager to hear about them. So today we're going to animate one of my favorite Marvel superheroes, which is none other than Spider-Man. We're going to go through all the steps of creating this animation, and if you stay till the end, I'll show you some really cool things about the Spider-Verse effect, a multiple camera setup, and also the action editor. Right, let's get to it. Okay, but first we need a character. And you're lucky, because this beautiful model was made by AnimeSteps, and it's available for free on his Gumroad page. So I'll put the link in the description and you can download it. And once you've downloaded it, you can append it in your Blender scene. And here's how you do that. So this is what you'll see when you first open Blender, and you can click here and yeah, basically you can delete the default cube and the light. We're going to keep the camera for now, and we can come here in file and click append and navigate through your folders and find where you've saved the model. And once you find the folder, you can choose which version you want to append. So I'll choose the latest version, which is the version 4, and I'll click append, and here I'll choose collection, and here you're going to click on Miles link. And there you go. Here's your mesh. This imports both the high resolution mesh and the low res mesh, but you can hide whichever you're not going to use. In my case, it's a high res, so I'm going to hide it, and I'll use the low resolution. I'll also hide the widgets of the controllers here, just here. When creating an animation, it's always a good practice to have a reference video somewhere, and what I usually do is I open my reference video on my second screen here, but you can also add it directly on the viewport by doing this. Just click add or press shift A and go to image and click reference and find where you have downloaded your reference file. Okay, so here's my reference, and I can just put it, I can just press it, click G and move it a little back so I can see it while I'm pausing the animation. Having a reference makes the process a lot easier, and it makes the animation even more natural and realistic, and even professionals use it when they make animations, so you should use it. But you can also do without a reference. Alright, now that I have set up my reference and I press play, I can see the video play, and I'm going to use it for the next step, which is blocking the animation. Okay, so now we can come back to our model and click on the rig and press Ctrl Tab to go into pose mode. So now we can see all the bones we have to control this rig, and we're going to use them to pose the character. So I'm just going to look at my reference, and I'll break down the whole action. This whole backflip, I'll break it down into key poses. So let's say this is the first key pose. So I'm going to make my character have this pose by moving the bones to match the pose here on the reference. So I'm just going to grab the controls, just got to grab the hands here, and you can turn on the mirror here, axis mirror, so you can replicate the same action on the other side of the ring. Oh, so I first need to by the way, guys, if you don't see this UI here, once you load your character, you can go to script and select the script of the rig Miles here and click on execute, run the script, and you'll see it here, because this rig was updated so it can be used in Blender 4.0, which is not the case for the other versions. So I'm just going to enable the IKs by just bringing this slider to 0, and now with mirror turned on, I can replicate the same movement here, and it's going to make the posing much faster. So I'm just going to pose the character now. Okay, so the first pose is simple. I'm just going to choose this bone here, and I'll just go into autograph. We almost have the same pose by default. Yeah, it's going to save us time. Move it here. Y. Let's try to match it as much as we can. So the heel is a little lifted and the back is a bit tilted. You can also enable the fingers by clicking here on fingers, and this rig has like really cool controls, so you can automatically, like really easily control the fingers by moving this bone. You can also hide some bones that we are not going to use, like currently we are not using the face. You can hide it, so when we're creating keyframes we don't have unnecessary keyframes on the timeline. Okay, now we have something that resembles the reference, so we can create keyframes. So what we're going to do is we can select all the bones that we posed here, that we moved, and click, for example, let's say it's this and this one, and then we're just going to click I and create a keyframe according to the transform we did. But that's kind of sometimes confusing to me, so I like to keep it uniform and have all the keyframes have the same channels. So what I do is I select all the keyframes that I have enabled, and I press A to select all of them, and I press I, and I create a keyframe for the location, the rotation, and the scale. And this way, when I come back and I need to edit, for example, for this keyframe, I want to change the scale, I already have created a channel for the scale, so I'm not looking for what keyframe, what bone had only the location or just the rotation. So it's always all the same. So I like to keep it that way, so it's simpler for me. But you don't have to do it that way. If you are only going to use this bone, for example, for the scale, you can press I and create a keyframe only for the scale. It's going to keep your timeline cleaner. Yeah, so at the end of the day, you do what makes you more comfortable. Okay, so now we have our first key pose, and we're just going to move the cursor and find another key pose, and I would identify this one as being another key pose. So you guessed it, you have to know what are the key poses by yourself, and this is not exactly a video about that, but I advise for you finding the key poses is to look for the poses that change from the previous pose, like have a big change from the previous pose. Like if you play this animation here, you can see that this pose from here to here, it's almost the same, and when we get here, it's a different pose. So this should be marked as a key pose. And when you move a little further, you see that this one also is a different pose. So this is also going to be a key pose. And then you change, and you can see this one also is a different pose. So that's how you can determine what are the key poses. You have to know a little bit about animation to find what are the key poses. So learning a little bit about the principle will go a long way. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back to the key poses I've identified, like for this one, and I'll do the same, exact same. I'll just match it, and I'll do it for all the key poses for the whole animation. Also, when you're posing your character, make sure you also check the other angles to see if the pose looks good on all angles. Here you can see, for example, that on the profile it looks decent, but here at the front it looks really bad. So make sure you're changing angles often, so you don't have like bad poses on some angles at the end of the animation. So again, I'll just press A to select all the keyframes, all the bones, sorry, and I'll press I to create a keyframe for the location, rotation, and scale. Yeah, for now don't worry about the interpolation. And you can, by the way, change the interpolation to constant, so we don't have to worry about it for now. I'm just going to press T and change it to constant, so we don't see what goes in between. We're only focusing on the key poses. And then later we can come back and fix the interpolation and the timing. Alright, so here's another key pose, and I'm going to do the same. Just press A, I, location, rotation, and scale. And the next key pose is here. So this is all part of the anticipation, and that is one of the principles of animation. So he's anticipating the action, building energy, and here is our next key pose. We'll just create a new keyframe here. This one happens really fast, but we're going to mark it as a key pose as well. You're gonna see why. See, it happens really fast here. And then we have this one also. And I'll just same AI, rotation and scale. And then I'll mark this one as well. Now actually let's take this one, because up until here is the same. We can have this with the interpolation, so we don't need to mark it as a key pose. So we're just going to go straight to this one, which is the most extreme, or maybe no, this one actually is our next key pose. So you can see here that right here that the reference lifts its feet a little bit above the floor, so I am going to use the root bone to do that. I can start just lifting it a little, just above the floor. Our floor is this, where the wall cursor is currently, so the 3D cursor, I mean. So we can do that with the root bone, so we don't have to move all the legs and the torso and the pelvis. Also very important, don't forget to animate the shoulders as well. Many animators, you forget it and the animation looks weird at the end, but you shouldn't forget them. Right, when you're done, just select all the keyframes and press I, create a keyframe. Let's keep going. This is a really interesting action. You see how he brings his legs up, like he's mid-air right now, and the legs come up later. So first we need a pose where he's in the air, like this one, and then we make the legs come up. And if when you're posing you want to scrub back to the timeline and check if to see what the reference looks like, and you see that, okay, let me just show you. First I'm going to press A and pose, copy pose, and I'll show you what I mean. Like if you go back and you just want to check, you see that it goes back to the last saved keyframe, and now you've lost all the posing you've done that you have not saved yet. So that's why I just copied the pose, and now I can come back and I can just click on pose and paste the pose, so I can go back to the pose I was doing. Okay, so we have this pose now, and we can go to the next key pose, which is this one, when he brings his legs up right before he touches them here. This is our next key pose. This action is really interesting. Like I just realized, like he's doing all this at the same spot. Like his height is not changing. You see, like all this action is happening super quickly, but he's doing it all on the same spot, like he's floating. This is really interesting. This is what I like about animation. Kind of looks like it. Let's press A, I, okay, rotation is. Okay, this one happens really fast, so this is our next keyframe, our key pose, right? So we're going to make this one, make him touch the legs first, and then we rotate it. So here, just the next frame is this one. Actually, this one is fine. Gonna let you down. This looks kind of nice. I like it. Alright guys, so I brought the leg up, and now to make the rotation, I just changed the transform pivot point to median point, and then I'll just select all the bones active, and I'll rotate it to match the reference. I think we're about here, right? And I might have to move the legs down a bit and then I'll just create a keyframe. Okay, so let's create a keyframe now. Let's press I. Perfect. Let's see how it looks like so far. Looks like it's looking really good. Okay, let's do the rest now. Next key pose is a rotation, so it's really simple. So we're just going to rotate it up until here, till here, right before he releases it. I'll try to make him bring the legs closer though, to make to convey the fact that he's bringing his legs closer as he's rotating. So we're not just going to take the previous pose and just rotate it. We're adding a bit of more. We're going to push this pose a little more, and then we're going to rotate it. Alright, so we have this pose we wanted, and now we're gonna go here, right here. Here, this is our next pose. Okay, time to bring him back down to the floor. Here we are, and this is I'm hesitating between this one and this one. Okay, let's make it this one. This one is the next key pose. So after I rotated it, I just moved it back closer to the floor with this root bone, and the floor, let's remember, here is just the cursor, where the 3D cursor is. So here is our floor. Okay, so we've just landed. Now let's create a keyframe. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. Then we're going to push it up until here. This is our next keyframe. Okay, just checking he's still well aligned, even in the front. Okay, new keyframe. Let's see. Hops back up. Okay, so then he hops a little up. Okay, so this is our current key pose. This is the next one. Okay, so it looks kind of decent, I'll say. So let's just create a new keyframe here. Let's see how it looks. Okay, then he lands. Alright, let's finish this animation now here. Once he's landed, we're going to create these last poses, this one, and then we're done. Okay, so first let's make this one. Okay, and the final pose, when the hands come forward and he stands tall again, here. Alright, so we're done. Let's just create the last keyframe, and then we can play back the animation and see how it looks like. Let me just go here, and let me even hide the reference. Let's see how it looks like. Really good. It looks really nice. Okay, so now we can move on to the next step, which is polishing the animation. Okay, so now we can go back to the Bezier interpolation. First, let's just play it back and see. This actually looks already really good, because this is the power of using a reference. It makes you gain so much time with the timing, the poses and all. So right now, if we go back to the Bezier interpolation, we won't have much to work with, because we already have matched the timing thanks to the reference, and most of the poses look good. So yeah, this is how it looks like. Obviously there is a little bit of things we can work with, and that would involve the graph editor. This tutorial is like for beginners, so I don't want to introduce the graph editor for this one because it's a little more advanced. And honestly, I don't think we don't even need the graph editor. Look at this, it looks already pretty decent. Maybe I'll just come and fix some poses on some angles. And apart from that, like for the hands, I'll just come and fix the hands. And apart from that, it looks really nice to me. Alright, so if you want to edit the pose, just come back to the keyframe, the concerned keyframe, and select the bone. And let's say I want to make him like I want him to clench his fist. So I can just come here at this keyframe and I'll override it by pressing I and location, rotation, and scale. For this one, I don't need to do it for the whole model again. I can just select this one and make sure it's on the keyframe, on the right keyframe, and I'll just override it. And if I do that, I don't want to do that right now. So I'm okay with how the fists look. So if you do it, it's just going to override the keyframe. So at that point, it's going to change it to the fist. But honestly, I'm satisfied with the way it looks right now. This is why using a reference is cool. So typically, if we did not have the right timing, if you wanted to make the timing match the reference, we would have to select the keyframes and then press Shift to move them. But right now we don't have to do that because it's all it's exactly the same timing as the reference. So we have a good timing. And yeah, so I think we can move to the next step. Okay, so at this point you can render the animation if you want. What we would want to do that is just you go to the output here and you specify the resolution you want, and you obviously need to have a camera first, and you can place it wherever you want. You can move it anywhere, and once you're satisfied with that angle, you just specify here the resolution you want. And this is the frame rate, which is set to 24 FPS. I usually use only 24 FPS for my animations because I find it looks a little better. And what else? And here you can specify the folder that you want the animation file to be rendered in. And here the file format, you can choose image sequences or just FFmpeg video. And here you can change the encoding to MP4 if you want it to MP4, or AVI or QuickTime or whatever else, or Matroska, which is MKV files. And yeah, that's it. I guess that's all you need. And once you're done with that, you just make sure you have all the keyframes on the timeline, and you match the end of the timeline with your keyframes, which is 74 here. And you click Control F12, or you can just go here to render and press and click render animation. But I am not going to render yet because I want to show you one more thing. Because like right now you can see that the animation is really short, right? And the thing is, we can cycle it through the whole timeline as long as we want without copying these keyframes and duplicating it all over. There is a really cool thing we can do with the dop sheet, and I'm about to show you that. Okay, I'll show you that in a minute, but before that, it would be a waste to not show you how to have the Spiderverse effect here with this animation, because we are really close to it. And you could see when we had the interpolation set to constant how it already started to look like the Spiderverse. So that's actually what we're going to go for. What makes this animation style so appealing is that the character is animated on twos, which is one image is used for 2 frames. Like this one image is going to be held for 2 frames, and the camera is still animated in ones. And that means that every new frame we have a new image. Alright, so that's what we're going for, and it's really easy to have that. Alright, so let me show you quickly. We are in pose mode currently, and what we need to do is we're going to select all our our bones and all the keyframes. And we're going to go here in pose. And here we're gonna go to animation and click bake action. Okay, so right now we have our settings on our timeline, which the animation starts at 1 and ends at 74. We're not going to change that. This is what we actually need to change, the frame step. We're going to change it from 1 to 2. So now we're going to be animating in 2s. And yeah, that's all we need to change, and can press OK. And once you've done that, you can see that the extra keyframes are created every 2 frame. And check this out. When we change the interpolation to constant, I press T, constant. Look, we have changed the animation to 2s now. See how it looks really cool. We can take this even a little further by adding 2D effects using Grease Pencil. But before that, I am going to show you how to cycle this using the dope sheet. And all you need to do is just go here and change the timeline to dope sheet. And here, from dope sheet, we need to go to action editor. And basically this is our action, the backflip. And currently it's called action, and we can call it Miles backflip, right? And we can click here on the shield icon which is fake user, to save it. And all you have to do now is click push down. So now we can go to, I'm just going to open a new window here, and I'll change this to nonlinear animation. And here you can see that we're going to find the action we just added, which is here. And I was telling you that the action is too short, and we want it to last for a little more. Let's say about 5 seconds, right? And we can do that here now. Now that we have our action, all we need to do is go here, action clip. I always confuse it. It's here, and just increase the repeat factor here, right? And you can increase it even way beyond this, but this is how long we want it to be. Around here is fine. Let's see how it looks like. See? And then it's going to repeat again. Perfect. Alright, now let me add some grease pencil effect to push this a little further, so we can see how far we can take this. Okay, so I've added a bit of a background, and I've given him the iconic Air Jordans, and I am going to add some drawings with Grease Pencil. So by the way guys, if you're interested in knowing how to do this, I have a step-by-step tutorial already made that I'll put the link in the description, so you can check it out to know how to do this, how to add the Grease Pencils to your 3D viewport. Alright, so now I'm just going to start drawing. I'm in draw mode right now, and now I'm just going to draw some shapes and see what's going to look like. I just like this and move it. I'm looking at a reference, by the way, to see what kind of shapes we usually see in this Spiderverse. I'm just going to look at my reference and add some shapes, and then I'll add a bit of animation also, 2D animation. Okay, so far, so this is how much details I've added. I think I'm going to stick to this for now. Maybe I'll add a bit more later. And this is how it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the camera setup, but before that I just wanted to say big thanks to all of you who have subscribed. Thanks for supporting me. It's really helpful and motivates me to keep making tutorials. And for those who have not subscribed yet, don't hesitate to subscribe. Your support is always welcome. And you can also check out my Patreon, where I have added all the tutorial files. I kind of have like a good collection now. And also you'll find my 3D models, like this one for example, that I added recently. And yeah, and this one, Ben 10, and this one. And also I'll keep adding the models I have not added yet. So yeah, give it a go. You can check it out. Okay, so the animation is nice, but we might want to have like a different angle, because a different shot, because having only one shot sometimes is boring. So I'm going to show you quickly how you can do that. It's really simple. All you need to do is go to object mode and add a camera. I'll just add a camera here and I'll put it here for now, and I'll name it camera 2. And you can place it wherever you want. I'm going to place it, I'll go here, I'll set it to active camera, and I'll place it to, let's place it here for now, right? Alright, so this is my second camera and this is my first camera, and I'm going to set it back to active camera. This is the one I want to be the main camera. So what you want to do, if you want to have a second camera, so let's say you want to play the animation the first time here, up until here you want it to be for the main camera, and you want the second camera to take over from here. So what we need to do is here, where we want the second camera to take over, we're going to place a cursor here and go to our second camera, and we're going to click here on marker and bind camera to markers. So basically what this does is it tells the second camera to take over once we get here. So the problem we see right now is that this camera is now our only active camera, and we don't want that, because we have like a main camera that needs to be taking the lead from here to here. What we need to do now is to go back to our first camera. We just have to select the camera, and on the first frame here we're going to give it a marker as well, so that it is appearing on the timeline, right? So now we can see that here on this whole section of the animation, this is the main camera that's taking it, and once we switch here, the camera changes and goes to the secondary camera, and we can place it. Even after we've placed the marker, we can change the position and put it somewhere else if you want, like here for example. And yeah, that's it basically. That's the setup, right? Alright guys, I hope you're closer to 3D animation than you were before watching the video, and as I said at the beginning, it's always good to know a little bit about animation, and learning it will help you a lot with your 3D animation and just animation in general. And there's a really cool video made by Alan Walker. It's really helpful. It's actually Alan Baker, sorry guys, not Alan Walker. Alan Walker is somebody else. Okay, so here's the video, you can check it out, it's really nice. And yeah, that's it for this video guys. I hope that you enjoyed it, and yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and see you next one. See you next time. Bye.